everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brie Bonomo. Hi if you're new here, or hey if you've been here before. Today I am going to be doing a tag video, and it has actually been a hot minute since I've done any tags, but today's video I was actually tagged by the wonderful Kelly Wright to do the 2020 takeaway tag. This was created by the Wright Mama. I will leave the original tag down below if you want to go check it out. And it is essentially just kind of a straightforward tag. It's just what have we learned in the year 2020. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the questions. The first couple questions are around writing specific. So the first one is, what creative projects did I work on in 2020? I worked on quite a few, and I have already talked a little bit about this in my 2020 goals reflection video, so I don't really want to repeat myself too much, but basically in the year 2020, I worked on and finished a contemporary young adult novel. I started to edit my adult fantasy prophecy project novel. I started writing an adult mermaid story. I wrote and finished 2 short stories. One was a historical fiction short story about Salem, Massachusetts in 1692. The other one was a futuristic sci-fi short story. I also kept working on my co-written book and getting that ready to query. I wrote some more poetry and possibly down the road may combine that to do a poetry collection. And I wrote a chapter for a collaborative project that I am working on with my friends. So that's pretty much the sum up of what I've done in 2020 as far as creative projects. Question number 2 is, how would your protagonist have reacted to the chaos of 2020? Honestly, I have quite a few protagonists to talk about. The sci-fi short story, for instance, Micah, it would have just been another year for him because he already lives in a futuristic world where our Earth is dying, so it's probably not too much of a difference. My 2 girls from the Prophecy Project also probably, I feel like both of them would have reacted pretty nonchalant because both of them are isolated but in different ways. One is isolated in the mountainside and has never had human interaction other than like the people who live with her, and then the other protagonist lives in a very, very small town. So I think they would be more impacted on some of like the trading stuff, but they're all pretty self-contained and self-sufficient. They have a farm, they raise their own vegetables, that kind of stuff. So I don't think either of them would have been too impacted by 2020. And as far as like, I'm just trying to think like my co-written book with our 3 protagonists, again, the one lives in a futuristic society, but like it's like very grim in that world. So she would probably be like, oh, this is something the government concocted to decrease our numbers again because we're probably getting too many people living in this city. And then the other 2 characters are from our world, and honestly probably would have reacted very similarly. I think Colin would have been content like for quite some time of just staying home, reading, doing his studies. Like he's kind of a little bit more of an introvert, but like extroverted among his friends, so I think he would have made it work. Whereas Kai, I think, would have like probably melted. She would have been so upset that she had to stay home and not be able to interact with people. So yeah, those are kind of how I think like the main characters would be. I could talk about my mermaid maid character, but honestly, she, for the most part, like her life is a mermaid, and I don't think she would be impacted because there's not much in her society that gets them sick. So I feel like she might have been a little bit of in a sour mood if her, like the human she was trying to kill was sick and wasn't as appealing. But for her, it doesn't really matter. She would kill people, so she's probably the virus in that world. Question number 3 is, what is a writing lesson you will carry over into 2021? And I love this question actually, and I kind of did this in my self-reflection for NaNoWriMo, but that is just that when I set aside the time to write, I can accomplish a lot of things. And even if it's just 1 to 2 hours a day, I can get things done. So I think for 2021, I just really want to dedicate more time to sitting down and getting some of the stuff done, either drafting or editing or just doing live shows with people and kind of being productive then. This year, I have definitely discovered that writing sprints help me a lot, but I also don't want to rely on them because if I only relied on them, then there's a good chance I'll only write once a week. So I just want to make sure that I keep building in time to write and edit in my life next year, because when I do that, I succeed. Question number 4, and the last one for the writing component, is what is your favorite quote you wrote or read this year? And I will say, even though I've been working on Prophecy Project and I love a lot of what I've written there, and I especially love like my little prologue of sorts. It's not really a full prologue, it's just like a teaser. And I really, really love that. But I've already shared this one online, so I'm going to share it again. And this is in my mermaid project, and I really, really liked it. So basically the scene was that the mermaid main character was talking to the sea witch. She's not the sea witch like Ursula is in The Little Mermaid, but she's actually an exile from a different mer kingdom. And they claim that she must be a witch because mermaids typically don't get exiled, and no one knows why she was actually exiled. So it's between my main character and the sea witch. And the quote is, "Men rule the land kingdoms. It is why they taste so much better when we drown them." The next few questions are about YouTube and AuthorTube in general. And the first one for that is, what's something you did on your channel in 2020 that you are proud of? And I'm just going to put this out here. I had my channel started in September of 2019, and I really didn't push it. And still to this day, I don't push it a lot. This is a lot for me and to kind of keep having the community that I've built. And while a subscriber count is awesome, and I would obviously love to keep growing and engaging with people, I'm just proud that I really put myself out there with the community. I started live streaming this year, and that's probably the biggest accomplishment I had, because I always said that I wanted to start doing live streams, especially when I started realizing that writing sprints were a thing. And I did it this year, and I partially have Autumn Ashley to thank for that, because without her saying that she was gonna do it and asking if people wanted to join her, I probably would have put this off a lot longer. But I really wanted to push myself by this year, because during NaNoWriMo, that was my intention, was to start live streaming a little bit before NaNoWriMo. And I actually started live streaming in June of this year. So that was probably my favorite accomplishment, but also just the fact that I started making more friends in this community and having people that I can go to for support and to join me in live streams and to just like have fun with during this entire experience. That has probably been, and I don't know if I am proud of it, but like that's definitely been the most rewarding as well. So those two things of like having more friends to have as a support and cheerleaders in my corner, and live streaming. The next question is, what ways did you and your channel grow this year? As I already said, I kind of grew with the community itself and being more engaging and having more live streams and being able to have pretty good interactions. So I grew a lot. I also think me as a personality on like the internet, like I'm a pretty bubbly and extroverted person, but I will say there's been a huge difference I've noticed from last year to this year, where I feel much more natural to myself on the camera, and I didn't realize that I wasn't that in the beginning. So I've definitely grown comfortable with filming in front of, an empty room and by myself. I've also feel like I've gotten better with editing. I still don't think I'm anywhere near as good as some people are, and I don't think my aesthetics are always as pleasing, but I definitely put myself out there. I've tried more things with vlogs, and I've added music to vlogs, and I just feel like I'm finally getting into a good enough groove where I can say my editing skills are pretty okay. And the third and final part of the AuthorTube YouTube questions is, what other channels brought you joy? And it doesn't have to be AuthorTube related. I will definitely say this year, AuthorTube videos in general, with the friends that I've made, I've honestly really enjoyed watching their content. And I could leave a list of all the people that I think you should go check out and support. But briefly, let's see if I can mention everyone in one breath. We have Autumn, Hudson, Diane, Maddie, Helene, Angela, Sarah, Kelly, Zara. Did I forget someone? I might have. Brooke. I forgot Brooke. Oh gosh. I hope she doesn't watch this now. But honestly, this is what I mean. Like, I've grown to talk to so many different people, and it's like, I had like 2 people originally. When I started this channel, I had 2 people that I was interacting with pretty intensely and on a regular basis. And now I have so many, and it's so wonderful. And I'm sure I'm even missing more people than that list. I've definitely started talking to like subscribers on my Instagram a little bit more, and I'm just everything's just so expanding, and it's just wonderful to watch all of their content as well and interact and just support each other. So yeah, now that I'm done gushing, outside of AuthorTube, I really love a lot of channels and things. I mean, I don't have any specific. Sometimes, it depends on what my mood is. Sometimes I gravitate towards watching commentary channels and just figuring out what's going on in the world, what's going on with other YouTubers, bigger YouTubers. And I don't really have anyone in particular, but sometimes I just love that mindlessness of like, I'm just going to catch up in the world. I love self-care and goal-setting channels. Michelle B is one of them. Carrie Rad. I love their aesthetics and their like comfort. I also love a lot of booktubers. That's how I started watching. Before I even knew AuthorTube was a thing, I started watching booktubers, and there's a ton of wonderful booktubers that I love to watch, and I can binge videos, and I just like seeing what they're reading and what they're talking about. Books and Lala is probably one of my favorites. I like Books with Emily Fox. I like Thoughts on Tomes. I like Kate's Book Date. I love Reading Between the Wine. There's just so many, and that's like literally just a handful. There's a lot more, but those are often the channels that I gravitate towards. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch more, but I love YouTube. I love consuming YouTube, so there's really not a lot that I have not tried watching on this platform. All right, and the last 3 questions involve like some kind of personal connotation. So the first question with that would be, what new hobbies or interests did you pick up in 2020? Honestly though, I don't know. Live streaming. I know that might sound a little ridiculous, but that's really the only thing I could think of that I've done differently. So with me, and I've probably mentioned this on my channel, but this year did not slow me down as far as my job. I am a therapist outside of this little platform, and my job is always in demand. I am an essential worker, so I was very fortunate that I always had a job. But because of that, during the first couple of months from like March, April, and May, the job that I was at, I worked non-traditional hours. I was salaried, so I just worked whenever the calling was needed, and I was always on call, which meant I had quite a busy caseload. I had a full caseload during the first couple months of the world being on fire, and they were pretty intense cases. So I was always working, and I really did not have time to dedicate any other activities. I definitely had things planned. Like, I wanted to do certain things and try things and do things that I loved, but I never got to. And then I eventually moved to a different job now as of this month, but both of my jobs are pretty demanding, so I just didn't really get to explore as much as I wanted to. And I'm not mad at that. I have a lot of hobbies that I really like, but I really didn't even do them as much. I pretty much strictly read and wrote during this year, and that was the majority of my consumption. The one small thing I would say is that I really started taking a lot more outdoors walks with my pup this year. And during that time, I listened to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts. So even while I wasn't driving quite a bit for a couple months because I just kind of sat in my house for 6 months at a time earlier this year, but I was still getting out and moving and listening to a lot more audiobooks and podcasts. And that's something that I really would like to carry over into 2021, because those walks with my dog were probably some of the best times in a dark time in the world. The next question is, what would you tell your past January 2020 self to prepare for the year ahead? This is like real self-reflection here question, because it's really, really hard to kind of think about like what I would actually tell myself. I personally, like, I didn't always struggle with the given circumstances. I kind of relished in the fact that I got to be an introvert for a little bit, because my job was, again, I've already said this, it was very demanding. I'm always peopling. I'm always therapizing people. And it was kind of nice to be able to just not have to people outside, like almost to have an excuse to not socialize. But I would probably tell myself that, you know, enjoy it while it lasts, but, you know, understand that it's probably going to also wear you down and you're gonna feel burned out after a while, because that definitely happened to me where I just started missing people so bad. And the people being like my close friends and my family, because I've barely seen my family this year and we don't live far away. Like they live within 10 minutes to 30 minutes from me, my majority of the family. And just that entire shift in my lifestyle, like going to my in-laws every Friday for dinner, has not been much of a thing this year. And that's time that I can't get back. So that was pretty hard once that realization started settling on me, as well as with my job, where I'm so used to that face-to-face interaction and really connecting with people to help them. Shifting into a virtual therapy room and with kids who have a lot of issues and they don't do well virtual, that has been a struggle with me as well, feeling like that failure and that disappointment that I can't connect on the same level. So just in general, like all of that, I think I would just tell myself to be easy on myself, to understand that this is a changing world, that things are not going to be the same for a while, and that you're going to be okay. You just need to adjust to the newness. So yeah, we hit deep there. So now we will move into the last question in this tag, and that is, what are 3 positive words you can focus more on in 2021? So for this one, I would probably say opportunity is going to be my number 1. And I don't know if the opportunity is going to be there. Obviously, I can't predict the future, but I want to cling to opportunity because I want opportunities to come to me. I want to manifest that. I want to put out those vibes into the world. I want opportunities, and I am going to push myself to get those opportunities one way or another. I feel like I got that opportunity this year with my day job, and I moved to a new job that would be more conducive to my writing. So next year we're having opportunities for writing. Putting it out there. Thank you. I still have 2 more words though. So the other 2 words, let's see. I think creativity obviously goes hand in hand, and support is probably going to be my 3rd one, because I think support can be, it's such like a big and encompassing word. Not only do I want support on my creative endeavors, but I also just want that continued support with like family and friends. Like I want to keep supporting them as well. I not only want to receive support, but I want to give all the support. I want everyone I interact with to go and chase their dreams and obtain them, and I want to be there to support them along the way. So those are the 3 words that I'm going to focus on: opportunity, creativity, and support in 2021. So that is it for this tag. I really want to thank Kelly for tagging me in it. It was fun to kind of look at and reflect on what I've learned and how I've grown this year despite all of the challenges that we faced. And now I am going to tag a few people, and I'm going to call them out, and maybe they'll never see this and that's okay, but I am going to tag Autumn Ashley, Madeline Monahan, and Sarah Lubrat. I think they would all do phenomenal in this tag, and I want to hear their opinions. So that is all from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please feel free to stick around if you want to by subscribing to my channel, giving this video a like, and keep looking out for my videos on every Tuesday and Friday. And until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.